Crazy things going on in the Capitol. I'm not talking about January 6th. I'm talking about the most bizarre hearing that I have ever seen take place in the United States Senate. And I had to check myself on this. I have not spent a lot of time around the U.S. Senate, but I spoke last night to Senator Ted Cruz, and I said, hey man, you were in that hearing today. That was pretty nuts, right? And he said, Michael, in my decade in the Senate, I have never seen anything crazier. The hearing was about abortion. There was one person in particular who was testifying, Berkeley law professor Khiara Bridges, who had the entire testimony descend into a debate over whether or not men can get pregnant. This occurred in particular during an exchange with Senator Josh Hawley. This exchange is a little bit long. Trust me, it's worth it.
You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you're denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
What an extraordinary, magnificent exchange. Senator Hawley deserves an award for patience. You can tell, you look at that woman's eyes and the crazy is there because you're denying that trans people exist. He goes, what? How did I do that? Do you think men can get pregnant? No. Well, and you're denying that they exist. And she keeps using this phrase. She uses this phrase, people who can get pregnant, people who are capable of pregnancy. All of these euphemisms because she doesn't want to say the word woman. And she believes the word woman, I guess, is transphobic. The real irony here is in the Harvard Law Review, this woman, Khiara Bridges, has an article from just a couple of years ago. This is January 2020, in which she uses the word woman 45 times and the word women 349 times. While talking about abortion, she's specifically an expert on abortion. And in just 2 years, she has completely changed her mode of speaking, her mode of thinking about human nature. And now the word woman, with regard to pregnancy and abortion, is considered transphobic. So I endorse this woman for the Democrat nominee for president. I think that Khiara Bridges, the more that we play of Khiara Bridges on TV, on the internet, we put her out on the campaign trail, I think that Republicans are going to win all 57 states if we put this woman out there as the face of the Democrat Party. The Democrats seem fine with this. They call this Berkeley law professor to come testify. They agree with a lot of her premises. And to her credit, by the way, I haven't seen a lot of conservatives defending this point, but we really should, to be fair. When she says that conservatives believe that trans people don't exist, she's right. She's correct. Conservatives do not believe that trans people exist. They don't. They don't exist. That's not it. Transgender is not a category of being that is real. You can't be that. Some people might say, well, listen, I believe that trans people exist. I believe that people think that they're the opposite sex. They're not really the opposite sex, but I think they think that, right. So you're saying people with gender identity disorder exist. You're saying people with gender dysphoria exist. But transgender people do not exist. They can't exist because to be transgender is to accept, or to even accept the category of transgenderism, is to accept the premise that a man really can be a woman. That's why there's a different term for transgenderism and gender identity disorder. This is why the people who are men who think that they're women identify themselves as transgender. They don't identify themselves as people with gender identity disorder. Sort of like saying, a skinny person who thinks that he is a fat person is anorexic. Yes, he is anorexic. He is not a secretly fat person. He is not a invisibly fat person. In this analogy here, anorexia and gender identity disorder and gender dysphoria, those are all medical conditions that ought to be treated and corrected. Transgenderism, male to female or female to male or a transitioned person, would be the analogous to a really skinny, very fat person. It's a logical impossibility. It's not a real category. And conservatives don't want to say this because one will be deplatformed. If you tweet that out, if you say transgender people do not exist, I think that is a direct violation of Twitter's rules, and so you could be taken off the platform for that. So we're not allowed to say that. And we also feel kind of icky. We've accepted the left's premise that it's somehow bigoted to say that transgender people do not exist. No, people exist. Confused people exist. Sexually eccentric people exist. But transgender people do not exist. They cannot exist because that is not an actual ontological category. Not to put too fine a point on it. I'm so glad you like that clip. I am so close. I'm so close to 1 million subscribers. I need you, please. I'm asking. You've got to ring that bell, like, subscribe. You've got to send this channel to your friends. Say subscribe right now so that Michael can reach 1 million subscribers, and then the overlords at YouTube will completely nuke his channel, and we will accelerate the liberal takeover of social media, and then we can finally fight back and get through all of this madness. That's what it's really all about, folks. Go subscribe. We'll see you next time.